Hello, and welcome to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics. Today is Wednesday, 9 October. I'm your host Daniel, the founder of HM Intelligence, and every weekday we bring you not just the news, but the so what from the events and decisions that shape our world. So grab a coffee and get ready to be informed. In today's update, we'll be covering Hungary's Orban scorned by EU lawmakers after speech. Afghan national has been arrested for plotting US election day terrorist attack. And Brazil has allowed X to resume services in their country. So firstly, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban addressed the European Parliament amid protests over his leadership style and close ties with Russia as part of Hungary's rotating presidency of the European Council. In his speech, Orban called for the European Union to reform, describing the current geopolitical climate as the most challenging in the bloc's history. He warned that the ongoing Middle Eastern crisis could trigger a migration crisis severe enough to dismantle the Schengen area's open border system. Orban advocated for migration summits to address these challenges, positioning Hungary's presidency as a catalyst for change. While his remarks were met with quiet attention, tensions rose as members of the parliament expressed opposition, culminating in a rendition of the anti-fascist song Bella Ciao. EU leaders, including the European Commissioner, President Ursula von der Leyen, sharply criticised Orban, questioning his commitment to EU principles on migration and human rights. She highlighted Hungary's recent amnesty for over 1,000 human traffickers as undermining efforts to control illegal migration. Other members, such as Terry Reinik of the Green Bloc, denounced Orban's presence, asserting his value as contradictory to those of European democracy. Manfred Weber of the European People's Party criticised Orban for neglecting Ukraine's struggle against Russia and accused him of using a recent trip to Moscow for propaganda rather than peace efforts. Despite criticism, Orban pointed to the growing popularity of right-wing movements in Europe as supportive of his views, underscoring the ideological divisions within the EU. So what? Interestingly, one of Orban's key opponents in Hungarian politics was finally able to pose questions to him during this session, something that hasn't happened for nearly 10 years. While some of his policies around migration are seen as a success by some, Hungary's low wages and high taxes are a clear sign of his government's failings. For those not well versed in Hungarian politics, Orban has been in power since 2010 and is accused of slowly degrading democracy within the country. His party and its supporters have taken steps such as controlling all media within the country and other key institutions. He is also accused of being highly corrupt, siphoning EU money into his supporters' pockets through large construction projects and other means, as well as being a supporter of Russia due to his vocal anti-Ukrainian sentiment. And next, the US Department of Justice has announced the arrest of an Afghan national, Nasser A, in Oklahoma, for allegedly planning a terrorist attack on Election Day. The 27-year-old reportedly aimed to support the Islamic State by orchestrating a violent attack on US soil, having procured firearms and ammunition intended for this attack. Communication between himself and an individual he believed to be affiliated with ISIS, alongside his attempts to purchase 2 AK-47 rifles and ammunition from an undercover FBI agent, led to his arrest. Co-conspirator, who was a minor, identified as his brother-in-law, was also implicated in the plot, but remains unnamed due to privacy protections. Following his arrest, he allegedly expressed his intention to carry out a mass casualty attack and anticipated martyrdom for himself and his co-conspirator. He entered in the US in 2021 under a special immigration visa program designed for individuals who had assisted the US military or embassy personnel in Afghanistan or Iraq. FBI Director Christopher Wray praised the agency's efforts in stopping the plot, while the Department of Homeland Security noted that the threats from lone offenders and small groups remains high. They warned that extremist groups such as the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda continue to seek opportunities to inspire and conduct attacks, particularly in light of upcoming elections and international conflicts. So what? The US is clearly facing some key challenges when it comes to immigration. And so close to an election, it seems highly likely that there'll be plenty of questions around how this individual was able to secure such a visa and what checks had been conducted on his background. This particular arrest highlights the continued threat of Islamic terrorism faced globally and in the US, particularly with such high levels of uncontrolled migration, both in Europe and in the United States. And lastly, Brazil's Supreme Court has allowed the social media platform X, formerly known as Twitter, to resume operations in the country following a suspension that lasted over a month. The suspension was initially ordered due to the platform's non-compliance with various court rulings, a stance backed by its owner, Elon Musk, who claimed such orders constituted censorship. The justice granted X the green light to return after the platform demonstrated compliance, including the payment of approximately $3.28 million in fines and the appointment of a legal representative in Brazil, something that is required by law. X had initially resisted the orders, but eventually took steps to meet the court's demands, including the nomination of a legal representative in Brazil. In response to the decision, X expressed its pride in resuming services, emphasizing its commitment to free speech within legal constraints. The platform, which has an estimated 20 to 40 million users in Brazil, highlighted the importance of providing access to its services across the country. The Supreme Court's initial suspension was part of a broader move to address the spread of hate speech on the platform, an issue that has led to tensions between Brazilian authorities and the platform's owner, Elon Musk. Despite Musk's initial resistance to these measures, X's recent compliance signals a potential easing of the rift, allowing it to operate under Brazilian regulatory frameworks while adhering to local laws on hate speech and internet company representation. So what? It's quite funny to see, after talking so much shit online, that Elon Musk has quietly paid the fines and agreed to play ball. Now that X has bowed to one government's requirements, it will be interesting to see how other countries approach the platform, possibly taking similar measures. In an ideal world, this could see the platform take action against a significant number of bots on the platform, which would likely be beneficial. In an ideal world, this could see the platform take action against a significant number of bots on the platform, which would likely be beneficial for regular users. Thank you for listening to the Intel Brief, your daily intelligence briefing on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. If you want to support the podcast, tell your friends to help them stay informed, and leave us a 5-star review. Or if you want to learn more about intelligence, why not take one of our courses? They're all online, self-paced and affordable. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.